The day of joy that the Lord has made. Hi, everyone. Today is my day of victory, my day of joy that the Lord has made. Hi, everybody. This is my day of joy, my day of joy that the Lord has made. Hi, everyone. Come on in. My spirit, soul, and body shout hallelujah. Hi, everyone. Hello, people. I'm back. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? So, truth be told, I missed y'all last week, but I didn't miss y'all enough to come live. Yes. I needed to. My head was going to explode. I needed to take a break. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but attorneys are, I think, at the second highest rate of depression. I'm not saying I have depression, but that's why. So what? So it doesn't end up that we have got to decompress, come back, and take deep breaths and just shut everything out for a while and come back. But I'm back. Hi, everyone. We missed lives last week, but that's okay. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Say hello when you come in. Let me know how you guys have been. How's your day so far? This is what, Tuesday? Yeah. Can you tell I'm just coming, just get it in. It has been a whirlwind since coming back. I'm not even kidding you. Like between yesterday and weekend, I've got 10 VAWA cases to review that are ready for review, not including the ones that are my assistants are still working on. 10 VAWA cases to review. I've got 2 national interest waiver, or just sent out the AOS. Yeah. I'm trying to look around. 10 to, I know I'm forgetting something, but anyway. So back at it. Can't complain. This is what we signed up for. But hi, everyone. This is attorney 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓 Samuel, immigration lawyer based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Got an immigration case. My firm handles that case type. We can and do represent immigration clients regardless of the state you live in. So let's talk immigration. Let's talk all things work permit. You already know the drill. If you've got questions, put them in the comment section and we will get to it later on. This is 7:37 Central Time Zone. Talking about Central Time Zone. I get this every single day. Okay, hold on. Let me put on my glasses so I can see. Okay, now I can see. Central Time Zone. When people make appointments with us in consultation, people will call and say, I'm waiting on Zoom for you. You're not here. And then we go, Central Time Zone. So I said, well, you got to let us know it is. Yeah, because before you even make an appointment, the very first thing you read says, Central, please note all times are in Central Time Zone. So y'all need to know if you're in Central Time Zone, Eastern Time Zone, Pacific, Mountain Time, whatever time zone you're in, gotta know. That's all. So, well, anyway, let us talk immigration. If you need to contact us, our number is 334-341-4475. And I am right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So all 3 platforms. I was on TikTok earlier today. If you have not followed us on TikTok, you want to do so. If you have not subscribed to YouTube channel, it's 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. Follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm everywhere, people. I am everywhere. Love my tattoo. That's the biggest tattoo that I have. Someone said, "Oh, you got tattoos. Oh, sad." I'm like, no, ain't sad. It's sad for you. Ain't sad. No, just saying. But listen, people, you've got to stop by on all our platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. A lot of content. And today, let's address one thing that has been something that, and I'll get to questions later on. But one thing that keeps coming up when it comes to my clients or people who don't know, a lot of my consultations have to do with work permit. And people tell me, I don't know why my case was rejected by USCIS. I sent in my work permit, and they came back and told me I'm not eligible for the work permit that I requested for, or I've already filed a work permit application with my VAWA case, but I don't have the work permit yet. It's been over a year. It's been 18 months. What's going on? Let's talk about all of that. As well as the very first thing I want to talk about is if you work in the child care field, childcare, daycare centers, schools, preschool, after school program, childcare related, and you have a pending work authorization with USCIS, your current work authorization has expired, or it will expire 30 days or less, you're now able to request that USCIS expedite your work authorization. So in addition to healthcare workers, child care workers are now eligible to request that their EADs be expedited. That is awesome. Now, if y'all want to go get a job like child care in the child care field, that's left to y'all. But for those who you make the request by calling. For the most part of what has been happening in our firm, they're requesting us to send documentation, and that's fine. The Vermont Service Center, for those who are my VAWA clients, and we are, hey, Miss Wanola, and we are requesting the expedited service for, they're allowing us, well, they're allowing me as an attorney to email or fax to them directly, but I'm using email for the most part, the documentation for my clients. So that is awesome. So if you're working in the healthcare field, not only just healthcare field now, but in childcare field, you're now able to expedite your work authorization. That is amazing. Good evening. How are you doing? So if that applies to you, call USCIS, the toll-free number. They most likely would ask you, because if they don't ask for proof, everyone is going to call and say, well, there's some information they would ask you over the phone. And, it would just depend. But for the most part, we are being asked to provide documentation. And for my clients, it's no big deal. So I say all that to say this. If you are not working in any of those fields and they ask you for proof, you're on your own. That's all. So, but let me address, we've talked about work permit before. I've done a detailed video about making sure that you are requesting the right category work permit. But I'm seeing that a lot of people still are finding that confusing. Not just people. I venture out to say, including legal practitioners. And I'm not kidding you. It is very, very easy to request a wrong category if you do not pay attention to the specific requirements for each category. So we're going to start with VAWA this evening, and I'll talk briefly on Asylum. If you have a pending VAWA case, or you are filing a VAWA petition and you intend to work while your case is pending, then the only option you have is filing an I-485 along with your VAWA petition. You're eligible to file a 485 if your abusive spouse, and I'm talking about spouses because that's generally what I do. If your abusive spouse is a citizen, you are classified as an immediate relative. And in that case, you're not waiting for an immigrant visa to become available. You have one readily available to you. And you are able to, you will be able to simultaneously, concurrently file your 485 with your 360. And what that allows you to do is to file a work authorization category C9. That is the work authorization that is attached to a pending 485. It's only attached to a pending 485. If you file just the VAWA petition 360, you don't file a 485 and request a C9 work permit, you cannot get that without filing the 485. The error that I'm seeing, and I would not say it's an error, but most people are filing a C31 category work permit with VAWA petition. It makes sense, and here's why it makes sense and why a lot of people think that's what needs to be done, including legal practitioners. Because specifically, there is this table for EADs, and it lists the categories, and then it lists those who it applies to. A C31, it says VAWA self-petitioners. So automatically, people would say, in looking at 31, I see 31 on my screen. Automatically, people would say, oh, that's my category. The problem with that is this. If you file a C31 with your VAWA petition, you will get the work permit. The question is, when would you get the work permit? The answer to that is when your VAWA petition has been approved. Question, when will my VAWA petition be approved? Answer, 2 to 3 years. That means you're going to wait that long to get a C31 category. And you do not actually have to file a C31 category work permit separately, because in the 360 petition, there is that part where they ask you, if you're physical present in the United States, would you like us to issue a work authorization for you? And you check yes. Half of my VAWA cases, the first indication that the petition has been approved is when my status, I get an email status saying, we ordered your new card, and it has the receipt number for my client's VAWA case, and I know it's a C31 card on the way. So you do not get a C31 work permit until the end of your VAWA petition process. That is completely different from a C9 category work permit that you can get while your case is pending. If you file a 485 application to register permanent residency. And I'm not kidding you, because I've had 2 consults this week so far where the potential clients have attorneys on their cases, and they filed, one was filed a year ago, another was filed back in 2019. And she only found out yesterday that the attorney filed a C31 category work permit. And she was asking, why am I not getting my work permit? And he says, well, it's just taking a long time. But the truth of the matter is, you don't get a C31 work permit until the end of the VAWA petition. So you've got to know the right work permit category to request, and whether or not what you're filing will make you eligible for that category of work permit. I know it's a mouthful. I can do this in my sleep. But not everyone wants to hire an attorney. Wrong decision, but that's the truth. But you've got to understand what you're supposed to file, where you're supposed to file it, what your filing fee is, all these necessary stuff that comes with it. Okay? Now, when you're filing an asylum case, oh, and by the way, if you have children that you're included in your VAWA petition, and you file 485 applications on their behalf as well, then you're able to file work permit applications, albeit even as a 2 or 3 year old child. Reasoning being, Once you do that, your child is able to get a social security number. And, for me, that's important. So that's how that goes. Now, let's talk about, let me pull this up real quick. Okay, let's see. Category, and I want to just show 765 EAD categories. All right, let's talk about asylum. When you file for asylum, you have to understand that filing for asylum is not the same thing as filing as an asylee. Let me say that again. Good evening, Jeffrey. When you file for asylum, filing for asylum is not the same thing as filing as someone who already has asylum approved. One error that I've seen a lot of people do is check, and when I say a lot of people, is when you file the asylum application, and then when your asylum clock is now, to the point where you're able to file a work permit, I'm seeing people file A3, A4. Let me go back on my page. Okay, A3, A4, A5. Now, those categories have to do with people who have been granted refugee status or asylee status. If you have a pending application for asylum, you are filing a C8 category work permit because your case is still pending. When people say, I came in and I filed for asylum and I was granted asylum, that's one error right there. You're not, the filing of an application of an I-589 application does not grant you asylee status. Asylee status is granted when you've had your interview and they grant you that. And if they approve your application, then they grant you that. If it's not approved, you're going to be referred to immigration court. Someone says, well, is it possible to grant an asylum, to be granted asylum with an interview? No. If that's the case, that'll be, asylum is one of those cases where less than 23% are granted at the affirmative level. When you file an asylum application and you have your case is still pending, you're now eligible to file a work permit. You've not been granted asylum, asylee status. Then your right category is a C8 category, not an A3, not an A4, and not an A5. So it is absolutely crucial to know what category you should file based on your application, whether or not your work permit category will require you to pay filing fees, or if it doesn't require filing fees, are you still required to pay biometric fees? Those are things you can go on USCIS.gov, use the fee calculator. When in doubt, hire yourself an attorney. Enough said. So that's all she wrote, folks. Let's see. Just make sure that it was nothing else. So I have talking about working while your VAWA case is pending, if you're in childcare, and filing for work permit in the side. Okay, so I'm going to start on YouTube and Facebook. Hello, Mr. Prince. How are you doing? What's the status in your case? Hello, Hash. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. Good to see you as well. I needed to be gone. I was gone far away. Gone far away. So last week we had my kids had spring break, and they are a shared custody with your dad. Like I have primary custody of my kids, but holidays we alternate holidays each year. So this year they were at their dad's for spring break, so it's like a whole week. Let's pray and thank Jesus. So it was good. Hi, Ms. Ionik. Thanks for sharing your beautiful good vibes. Thank you. IR5 after consular interview, officers entered mystery processing because name is very common. They did not request more documents. What do you recommend? Manuel Ramirez, you just have to wait. I don't know. That's very, very subjective without knowing more information. So, and by the way, if you need to consult with me and discuss your case specifically, we have two options for consultation. Half an hour is 130, an hour is 230. And what we do in my firm is if you retain our services within 15 days from the consultation, we credit the fee towards the attorney fees. And it would depend on if you're doing a payment plan, and we do have payment plan, yes, payment plan option or paid in full. And so that's what we do. Agatha, VAWA approved. Awesome. I-485 transferred to Vermont for 1 year pending. Then what do you expect? 1 year is not unusual. But when you say transfer to Vermont, you know, transfer from Vermont, because it's transferred to your field office. The field office decides when they're going to call you, if and when you'll be called for an interview. Vicky or Braden, okay. What if you call for USCIS expeditions and they said they will get back in 7 days, but they have not gotten back? What should you do? Call them again. Is it possible to use a VAWA prima facie determination to ask the court to dismiss your removal proceeding? It is possible to use it as part of a prosecutor discretion to either admit, close, or terminate. I've used that successfully. I have some that are still pending, depending on the ICE office you're working with and whether you have people who Jesus has breathed into them or otherwise. Just saying. But yeah. Okay. Let me go to Instagram. Let's see what you guys got this evening. And yeah, we got work permit for someone today. Got a work permit approval notice. So that should be coming in anytime soon. Advanced parole approved for someone who desperately needs to travel. That is awesome. An EB2 approval that was received today for a much deserving client. Yeah, so it was a good thing to come back to. Okay. Let me see. Mazainik, did I not just see you on Facebook? No, YouTube? No, you're gonna make me feel like I just saw you on. Yeah, on YouTube. You're on Instagram too? Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Hello, Cecilia. Okay. I think I may miss. Listen, if I miss it, just. Okay, hold on. Gosh. All right. I'm going to try to run through this as quickly as I can, possibly can. Let's see where I want to start from. Okay, I think I'm back there. All right. Can you talk about those with issues with divorce papers from Nigeria that might get a rejection of adjustment of status and they appealed already? What do you mean talk about? I mean, I've already talked about that in full in 2 different videos. So you'll need to go on my page and look through that. I usually put topics on the videos, but I don't know what you want me to talk about on that I haven't yet talked about. I came into the country with K1 visa in the month of October 2021, applied for my concurrently work permit and green card November, in my case. Okay, you didn't finish that. This is 𝒊𝒎𝒒𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. You didn't finish maybe you finish later on. Okay. if you have a pending VAWA case and USC has called your landlord to verify if you and your abused spouse reside at the residence, what does that mean? Just means they're trying to see if you actually shared residency is one of the requirements in a VAWA case. The fact that you're being abused does not exempt you from still having to prove. And that's why I tell my clients, you're not required to stay married. But whatever evidence you submit, if you give me, you must be able to tell me that they are able to corroborate that evidence. So example would be lease agreement. They're going to call, and if the person, they cannot produce anything showing that you lived there with your spouse, that creates that chips a hole in your story. And so that will be the reason why they're calling your landlord to see if during this period that you said you live in your VAWA petition, for instance, there's 360 and ask you when you live with your spouse and what address did you live with your spouse at. So that's one of the reasons why you put that in your form. The form is just not information. And that's why it's important to always narrow things down when I'm reviewing things with clients. And if there's some discrepancies that don't make sense to me, I know someone in USCI's office is going to note that as well. So that will be the reason. Okay, Earl, my case has been. So my question is, how long does it take to get either the working permit or the green card? The green card is very subjective and based on what the issue, if you have. So your case is still with the Lee's Summit office. That means you have not been called for an interview. So that would just depend on if your case is still within present times and how long the field office in your state is going to take to call you for an interview. Work permit, on the other hand, you can go to USCIs.gov /processing times and see what they're working on. Now, I got to say, the work permit we got in today was filed in May. No, not May. August. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, August. Now, I know that is because I have it somewhere here. Oh, it's right there on the chair. But anyway, so I say that to say this. Some are being approved much faster than others. I have a case where my dearest client, Miss Pam, we filed hers. They're way past her priority date. And I emailed them and they said they're doing some checks. And I'm like, what the heck? Well, I didn't say what the heck to them in my head. But I emailed them back like, okay, I'm not talking about the green card or the VAWA. I'm talking about work permit. What is taking you so long in whatever checks you're doing that is going to deprive her of the ability to work? But, listen, I'm feisty like that. That's just me. I filed C9 work permit in my VAWA case. When I will get my work authorization. Same answer. Let's see. If a woman this is Juicy Lee's, if a woman is threatening a man about an alimony in Texas, the wedding is not up to 5 years, what will happen? I cannot tell you anything about a Texas family law issue. That's not immigration related. Is there anything called late asylum after 6 years? There's nothing called late asylum. It's you filing asylum outside the normal present statutory period, as long as you can fall within the exceptions of changes in your personal circumstances or extraordinary circumstances. This is Jeffrey, why has Form I-750 been taking forever? Mine has been stuck and ready to schedule interviews since, Jeffrey, I got news for you. Stop December 2021, exactly 3 months ago, because it said December 22nd, 2021. That's not long. That's not long at all. One of the reasons why they now started issuing a 24-month extension rather than 18 months is because of how long it is taken. But 3 months, I've got a case where we're waiting for, it's been in the status ready to schedule interview for a year. So you can't complain yet. But it is taking them much longer to schedule interview. My Fab Glam Shop. I love that. Thank you for doing this. It's so helpful. You're welcome. Let's see. Good evening. Please, what can a pregnant lady tell an interviewer if she doesn't want to take the COVID vaccine? you will have to see if if you see a doctor and you fall within the exceptions. I don't think pregnancy is an exception, and don't quote me on that. But it is a requirement. But you have religious exemption, and see if you fall within the other exemptions. But that's something that, well, hi, Miss Shida, that's something you would have to face yourself if you think you have an exemption. Is pregnancy going to be enough reason? I don't know. They may require that you come back, or if you're saying I don't want to get it because I'm pregnant, that may delay when they will issue your green card. Yeah, if you are given intent to deny, when will USCIS? Okay, let me rephrase that. So by RX 12, I'm assuming your question is if you've had a notice of intent to deny annoyed and you've responded, how long is it going to take for USCIS to make a decision? And that would depend on the field office. Usually they would say 120 to 180 days. Sometimes it can take them that long or longer than that. And you may have to contact the office saying, hey, listen, you guys need to make up your mind and give me a decision. Good night, Rose Butter. Good night, Miss Olayemi. No, it's not Olayemi, it's Olale. Can I adopt my brother's son, 23 years old? You can adopt, but you will have to, or you have to go through adoption. If you're doing it here, or if you're doing it back, I don't know where you're from, that starts with the adoption process itself, going through that adoption. A 23-year-old, I don't know about that, because for the most part, adoption is, and you can adopt an adult, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, adoption will require, legal custody, physical residency, or if you're doing off an adoption, there are different processes that, dependent on your status, whether you're a citizen or green card holder, whether you're adopting here, what are the circumstances of adoption. And so that's something that you would need to set up a proper consultation for, Rose Bud. Hello, Miss Geraldine. How are you? Eli Spendy. Can you be put to removal if your VAWA case is denied? And how will you know if you're in removal? If your VAWA case is denied, or even a marriage-based case, yes, you can be issued a notice to appear in immigration court. One quick way to know is to put in your alien number in the EOIR case status website. Put in your alien number, and if it doesn't show anything, for the most part, that is a relief that you don't have anything pending. If it shows something, then that means your case, but you normally would receive a notice to appear in immigration court. Okay. Yeah, Jeffrey Nitrous, I just answered your question. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, that's cool. Hi, do you do visa processing? I used to, but I don't anymore. Yeah, I'm narrowing down a lot of stuff. Sleek touch braids. What happened or will happen to your case after you go for interview after 2 years and no reply for? So are you saying you've been to an interview and 2 years has passed by and no decision yet? If that's your question, what's going on, you can do an ombudsman inquiry. Ombudsman inquiry has changed now. I think a couple months ago, they decided that they would not do just a regular delay in processing of your case for whatever reason, unless you're in, there's some exceptions. One of them being if you have an upcoming immigration proceedings, for removal proceedings. But 2 years is not uncommon. And I always tell people the fact that you've been waiting doesn't mean they're not investigating. Sometimes they will delay because they want to see if you're really in a good faith marriage. So that's a period when they make unannounced visits. And if you're not leaving, then you'll be amazed how quickly they'll make a decision. So the fact that you're waiting does not mean that you don't have to still keep living life where it is still proof of good faith marriage, if that makes any sense. Okay. Hi, Miss Stanley. How are you? Good evening. Victoria 3 store, or talking about stores. So I got one of my sweet clients. sent me kilishi. If y'all know Chris, right? Y'all know he's not African. Let's just put it that way. Y'all know that if you're not African, there's some level of pepper, like hot pepper, that you cannot stand. So kilishi is one of those things that if you were raised on eating hot, spicy food, you may pass out. So there's just something about eating that dried meat with hot pepper that I just don't know why I love it. But anyway, she sent that to me. OVM Foods and Luxury Store, I think. Anyway, I put a post on Instagram and on Facebook as well. And she sent me 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. Is that what it is? Dried fish. No, it's not stockfish. Sound like it's stockfish. What is that one that folds? Whatever it is. My mom used to call it 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. That's what I know. But I just saw Victor at thrift store. I digress. Good evening, please. What kind of pregnant? Yeah, I already addressed that. Jeffrey, you're good. I'll refer you to all the Nigerians here in Missouri. Please, can you pin the phone number 334-341-4475? You sound like you sound like Mr. Stanley. And there's another guy in Indiana. Let me just say, y'all, I really do appreciate all the support. And that's why I needed to take a break last week, because it gets a whole, not because I don't ever take vacations. And as a full-time mother, like I always say, I'm a full-time mom. In my spare time, I practice law. It's like it's nonstop. Like it's almost it's 8:10. I can tell you, if I turn this around, you would not believe. Like this looks good, but the paperwork around me and the USPS envelopes and yeah. And let's just leave it alone. But I appreciate you all. I really do. I really do. I don't know what. I think in life you just gotta ask God for that grace for talent. I'm not kidding you. Immigration became my passion because I went through immigration. I came here, so it's gonna be 20 years this July that I've been living in the United States, 2 decades. I came here when I was 23. And my mom and my younger siblings won DV lottery. But myself and my older brother were over 21, obviously, at that time. And so coming here on a visitor visa and seeing that they could settle down and I didn't have papers, nothing. But as God would have it, someone introduced me to somebody who had an immigration law firm. This was back in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I think he's back in Nigeria running for office, or he's a politician. But anyway, that's how God aligned, and I believe God aligns our steps. Introduced me to this man, full service immigration law firm. Said, you since you're trying to get your status, maybe this would be helpful. Long story short, I got so interested in that. And my mom, I don't know if she's there, she used to say, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, or might take it over. Because I don't have a medium. I'm the kind of person where if I ever want to do something, I don't rest until I get, it's not perfection, it's just OCD-ish behavior. Anyway, to the point where this guy literally said, you know what, I know you're on visitor visa, but I want to do an H-1B visa for you. Out of the blue. And I was like, okay, what is that? But as I worked, because I had worked as a volunteer, and then along the line, I started learning a whole lot of stuff. And it was like, just seeing people come to his office and literally crying, getting work permits and getting green cards, and we call them, and life-changing. And for me, it was like, okay, I love this. I want to do this. I want to impact lives. But hey, Jeremy was on visitor visa. But God had a plan. And that was when I found that, and I knew that was what I wanted to do. Now, life has a way of taking you through a whole lot of detours, because then I was on H visa, and then I got married, and then I changed to J visa, and I was going to take this New York State bar. My dad said, you've got to take this when he God rest his soul. I said, no. Okay, we got married. My ex-in-law thought, okay, my law degree didn't matter. It was just a waste of time. You got to be a wife. Had kids. Fast forward. So that was 2003. Fast forward 19 years after. No. 2003. 11 years after. 2014. And finally went back to, 2011, went back to law school again. Took the Alabama State Bar, took the New York bar. When I took the New York bar, that's when my hair became gray. Well, no, that was the initial process. And then I started practicing criminal defense. But I always knew that immigration was what I was called to do. And that's why for me, it's something I just breathe and love to help people. I truly am passionate about just seeing people's lives change. So thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. All righty. All right, everyone. I think same age as I, okay. I have a question outside this. Can children of a dead citizen naturalize claiming their late father's citizenship? Yes, it's possible. Can someone get a green card without first giving a work permit? Yeah, of course. Why are you so pretty? Please share your beauty secret. Thank you. I think beauty starts with loving everything about yourself, even things you don't love. For instance, I always say for a long time I did not care for my gap back in Nigeria. Reason being, if you notice, my gap is not centered. So I was very, very self-conscious. But my mom said, I just never stopped talking. So even though I was self-conscious, I would find a way to walk through it until the point where it was more like I cannot live by what people think is the standard of beauty. I just cannot. And for me, listen, I'm almost 5 foot tall. God didn't give me height, but I'm grateful for high heels, 4-inch heels, where I can become 5'4" and I can be 5 feet whenever I feel like it. So it starts with embracing everything that God has given you. And I think if you have that heart of content and just knowing that there is no error with God, He gives you that which He believes is right for you, that makes you unique. Then there are not a lot of people who have side gap, right? So it starts with loving every part of yourself. And I don't compare myself with anyone. And that's what I teach my kids. Like, growing up in a culture where parents just say, not that because we should have what we say things. The one thing I did is when I became a mom, and my kids are almost 6 years apart, I don't ever compare them to their boys. I don't ever compare grades. I don't ever say, hey, your brother did this. I don't ever do that. And it's just a conscious decision so that they know that they are sufficient and they're enough just the way they are. And that's where beauty starts. I truly believe that's where it starts. You've got to believe it. Okay. All right, people, I gotta go. Contact in Chicago. We don't have contact. Hey, Miss Silly. I always smile when she comes on. We don't have contact in Chicago. Office is the number is 334-341-4475. My only office I have is in Alabama. For the most part, my office, we're a hybrid office because we're virtual. Like I have only one assistant who is not working remotely. COVID taught us how to do, and it's worked seamlessly for us. I have an assistant who I can email her 12 midnight because sometimes I'm up and she'll, like, oh, okay, Collie's up. What's going on, girl? But we can represent immigration clients regardless of what you say. Thank you for always answering me. I hope that someday I can come back here instead of asking you for information, give you good news, because thanks to you, I'm free. I didn't know about VAWA until I followed you on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for all the work you do for us immigrants. You and a lawyer enlightened by God. You're gonna make me cry. But okay. um Okay. All right, people. Thank you so much for following. And if you need our help, contact our office. Once again, number is 334-341-4475. And until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.